and their two younger kids could be here. Thankfully, the older sons are with us. And I have 3 of my 4 daughters and son-in-laws here, 11 of my 14 grandchildren here. One Israeli one had to take a pre-group test, and there was no makeup date. It was good. And I have a sprinkling of friends here. I have my 2 brothers and sisters-in-law, 2 nieces representing the others, and I'm also happy to see Jerry's cousins and dear friends, many of whom I've become close with as well. I'm not sure you could say that Jerry and I are a match made in heaven. That is, unless God works through the internet, for that is how we met. Of course, the internet is known as cloud, so maybe. The fact is, the 2 of us are very different. Jerry is a fanatic fan of the Yankees and University of Connecticut women's basketball team and loves watching sports on TV, whereas my lukewarm interest is limited to the personal lives of the players. Jerry is a modern Orthodox and observant, whereas I'm a good Reformed Jew. Jerry's choices in recreational reading and movies are murder mysteries and thrillers, whereas my taste is much more refined. Jerry is very positive and optimistic, never allowing himself to worry about what is not under his control, whereas I always assume there is a disaster around the corner. In politics, I lean to the left. Jerry doesn't like to lean. If someone challenges an opinion of mine, I stop and question myself. Whereas Jerry, in such a situation, immediately responds with a barrage of facts defending his position, and then Googles the subject to prove he's right. Somehow, though, we seem to be very compatible. We simply enjoy hanging out together, going places, or being at home, just the 2 of us, until the doorbell rings, and then my children, various and sundry grandchildren and granddogs arrive, and that's good too. Jerry recognizes how close I am to my family. He's supportive and reassuring. We share the same values. He does the dishes, and he can reach the high shelves. He makes me happy. What I admire in Jerry is his knowledge, intellectual curiosity, self-discipline, sense of fairness, tremendous devotion and loyalty to everyone he's close to, and his kindness. I like the fact that he's a very emotional person, easily moved. And as some of you have surely seen, there are subjects that he's passionate about, which bring him to tears every time he talks about them. And of course, his most enduring quality is how loving he is to me and how expressive he is about it. I believe in celebrating when we feel grateful. And so today, Jerry and I are celebrating the fact that we found each other. But holding a wedding ceremony these days, particularly in our age bracket, is not muvan me'elav. This is not something to be assumed. When I told people that we were getting married, a number of them said, "Why?" Our decision to do so stems from the desire to follow Jewish tradition and publicly commit to the merging of our paths and to one another. For me, it is also an affirmation of life, love, and resilience. At a very early stage in our relationship, after hearing about my almost 40-year loving marriage, Jerry said, "I know that I can never be what David was to you and your children. All I ask for is a small place in your heart." At that moment, I knew that you were right for me, Jerry. Although David will forever be part of me, I've learned that just as metals, liquids, and gases expand when warmed, so too does the heart. And you occupy much, much more than a small part in mine.
I'll say something about Judy in a couple of minutes. as Judy said, we're very, very thankful that you've all come for the Simcha. Personally, I'm blessed. I have many fantastic friends here. Friends I've known for some 10 years, some for 20 years, and some for even more than 50 years. I also have cousins here. You know, they say that you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your relatives. I'm very thankful that my cousins are amazing friends. And thank you so much, all of you, my friends and my cousins, for all the kindnesses and support that you provided me over the years. Special thanks, of course, to Rabbi Raymond Apple, okay, the former de facto chief rabbi of Australia, who officiated and for your kind words to the Raymond. Of course, I'm very happy that the majority of Judy's closest relatives, as well as a few of her friends, could be here today.
I forgot to mention my sister Debbie.
Yeah, they were here. The love between Judy and her daughters, and their husbands, and her grandchildren has been absolutely extraordinary for me to see. I sincerely hope that as time goes on, I will have the good fortune to develop a close, warm relationship with each of them, and I hope a start has already been made. And I want to give a special thanks to Yami for his guitar playing and for helping me with Bowie Kala. The day will come, my friends, the day will come when you will have to pay a great deal of money to hear Yami play. I must confess, however, that of all of Judy's family, I have a particular favorite. And I know you're not supposed to play favorites, but I think none of you will object when you hear that my favorite is Judy's mother, Maxine. Maxine, nobody alive has a better attitude to life than you. Many times you've quoted to me from Pirkei Avot, Ezehu Ashir HaSameach B'Chorko, who is truly wealthy, she who is happy with her lot in life. You are unfailingly kind and generous. You've got a great sense of humor. You always express your gratitude for anybody who does anything for you, and you always count your blessings. To me, you are truly an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. And for me, it's the greatest of honors to become your son-in-law. As long as I'm speaking of women of valor, let me turn to my beloved and beautiful wife, Judy. Unquestionably, this is the best day of my life. You are the most wonderful woman I've ever met. I'm in awe at how much you love and care for your mother, your daughters, and their families. We met exactly 39 months ago today. That's 1,170 days, but who's counting? Anyhow, it didn't take me long to realize that you have a full-time job. You are the CEO of the Haberman Foreman Family Corporation. You spend a significant amount of your time every single day seeing after the needs of your mother. You're also constantly taking care of your daughters and their needs, and frequently your grandchildren, to the extent that a day does not go by without them being on the phone to you, plus WhatsApps, and a week does not go by without you visiting your daughters or their families, or they visiting you. Not to mention when your grandchildren are visiting or living with you. It's mind-boggling. You are kind and generous to all of them. And yet, you often feel guilty that you don't do more. It's a bissel mishuggah. Especially when you only want the best for each of them. So, when I fell in love with Judy, and by the way, we have a running argument about this. I contend that I fell in love with her around the 6th week of our relationship, and she insisted it happened on the 3rd week. Don't tell her, but she may be right. Anyhow, I realized that I would have to accept that I could only have her attention for a small portion of the time, and even less when she was visiting one of her children or they were visiting her. Admittedly, this has not always been easy, but I'm resigned to it. What can I say? She's so wonderful that being with her, even for a short time during the day, is worth it. I bask in her glow. She's so kind, so good. She has a fabulous personality. She's very intelligent and innovative. She's a great conversationalist, never boring, a super sense of humor, a fantastic cook, a superior writer, and not to mention the obvious, extremely attractive.
No wonder he married you.
Miraculously, this fantastic woman actually loves me. Not only that, but she has made me into a better human being. I could go on. I just want to say, Judy, that with you, I've won the lottery. I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Thank you.